Kartika Siliwangi ini menerapkan ilmu pengetahuan yang dilandasi sikap arif dan bijaksana untuk melahirkan para lulusan berkualitas, mandiri, beriman, berakhlak mulia, dan patriotik. Sejak tahun 1986, Universitas Pakuan terus meningkatkan pembinaan bagi mahasiswa yang memiliki prestasi dalam rangka memberikan motivasi berprestasi di kalangan mahasiswa. Di awal berdirinya, Universitas Pakuan selalu bertekad untuk turut serta membangun negeri dalam mencerdaskan kehidupan anak bangsa, memberantas kemiskinan dan kebodohan, serta menegakkan keadilan dan kebenaran yang dilandasi kearifan tradisional, yaitu Sili Asi, Sili Asa, dan Sili Asuh, untuk membawa bangsa Indonesia menjadi bangsa yang unggul, mandiri, dan berkarakter. Di masa modernisasi ini, berbagai fasilitas dan perlengkapan kampus pun terus ditambah, guna memberikan kemudahan bagi para mahasiswanya dalam mendapatkan berbagai ilmu pendidikan. Untuk mengembangkan potensi, minat, dan bakat para mahasiswanya, berbagai kegiatan kemahasiswaan yang positif pun terus digalakan oleh Universitas Pakuan Bogor. Atas dasar ingin mengabdikan diri kepada negeri di bidang pendidikan tinggi, Universitas Pakuan terus-menerus mengembangkan berbagai disiplin ilmu hingga ke jenjang S2 dan 3 yang kini telah hadir di kampus tercinta milik warga Bogor ini. Dengan berbagai fasilitas dan kelengkapan sarana dan prasarana yang dimiliki saat ini, Universitas Pakuan selalu ingin bisa menjadi tempat yang layak dan ideal bagi seluruh generasi muda di tanah air yang ingin mengenyam dunia pendidikan tinggi.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, Bapak Ibu. I'm Tina Priyantin as the Master of Ceremony of today's event. On behalf of English Education Study Program, Faculty of Teachers Training and Educational Sciences of Universitas Pakuan, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you for attending TEFL National Webinar on Emergency Remote Teaching Challenges, Creating Activities and Facilitating Learning. This event is organized by English Education Study Program of Faculty of Teachers Training and Educational Sciences of UNPAK in collaboration with ITEL or Indonesian Technology Enhanced Language Learning. And we are lucky to have the president of ITEL and also the director of program development of ITEL as the presenters of this event. Welcome Pak Jati. Pak Jati, are you here already?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you again here.
Okay,
Thank you for, I know that you're very busy. We really appreciate you taking time off your busy schedules to share with us. And I believe that we will learn a lot from you today. I'd also like to welcome the Dean of Faculty of Teachers Training and Educational Sciences of Universitas Pakuan, the head of English Education Study Program, and all the lecturers. Bapak Ibu, to start the event, let's say Basmalah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. All right, Bapak Ibu, before going to the main sessions, let me read the house rules during the seminar. Committee, would you please share screen for the house rules? Actually, you have got it from the group, but well, I just would like to reinforce about our house rules. Committee, please. Hausan?
Baik, Bu Tina. Wait, I'll share the house rules.
Yes, thank you very much. The one that is shared by Ibu Ola. Yes, can you make it bigger? I'm sorry, I cannot see it clearly. Okay, I'm going to read then. So the house rules for today's event. So this webinar session will be recorded. By attending this session, you acknowledge that your image and comments may be recorded and rebroadcasted. And for Bapak Ibu, please rename your account using this format, full name and then underscore affiliation. And to help keep background noise to a minimum, please mute your microphone within the session. The host will unmute the participant microphone during the Q&A sessions for those who are permitted to speak. Turn on the camera while joining the webinar session. If you don't have any connection problems, so please turn on the camera. Type your questions on the Zoom chat room. And then for those who are joining the webinar on YouTube channel, it would be mine if you are to proceed the question of yours with the complete identity covering name, affiliation, city. And the moderators will summarize and deliver the questions to the speakers. After the session ends, you must fill out the TEFL Webinar 2021 Evaluation Survey to issue the certificate. The evaluation survey functions as an exit ticket, and the evaluation link will be given at the end of the webinar in the Zoom chat room or through WhatsApp or Telegram group, as well as the link to download the materials that will be provided by the committee. All right. Okay, thank you, Hausan. You can just stop sharing screen because I have read it. Thank you. All right, Bapak Ibu, to welcome all the participants, we are pleased to invite the Dean of Faculty of Teachers Training and Educational Sciences of Universitas Pakuan, to deliver the opening remarks. Dr. Enti Sutisna, MPD, the floor is yours.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Distinguished speakers, lecturers, ladies and gentlemen. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Yeah, it is great pleasure to open the first TEFL national webinar for remote teaching with so many participants gathering together. I am very pleased to have this opportunity to say a few words at the opening of this seminar. The webinar today is different and the outcome will be different. As a Dean of Faculty of Teacher Training Educational Sciences of Universitas Pakuan, I would like to extend my heartfelt welcome to all participants. Moreover, I welcome to the present here at the webinar of two representatives of experts working with ITEL, Dr. Gumawang Jati MA and Made Heri Santosa PhD. Welcome, Pak Gumawang, Pak Made. Welcome at Pakuan University. Ladies and gentlemen, it is officially to be national webinar fully involving lecturers, teachers, students, and from any regions of Indonesia. And it is only right since having completed the national webinar, their contribution to the emergency remote teaching challenges will be decisive one in convincing the society, parents and students. The credibility of remote teaching applied from home-based learning during COVID-19 pandemics. We are familiar with BDR, belajar dari rumah, or learning distance, yeah, with so many applications, yeah, the student can use. In this present hour, the sad fact that students have learned from home and almost 1 year. Though this is indeed an important occasion for all of us involved in this webinar mode, and as it is allow us to draw the attention of policymakers and public yet again to one of the major challenges in this pandemic situation, which of remote teaching. In accordance with throughout the national webinar, the sharing information, ideas, experience which will occur during the coming hours and will help you to learn from the analysis and evidence of the emergency remote teaching issues. In order to make this TEFL national webinar into more effective and meaningful agenda, there will be requests to emphasize. In so doing, I would like to emphasize my request for all participants to give the webinar much great energy, outstanding participant. And only if we are successful in so doing, we can put great effort to creating suitable activities and facilitating meaningful learning forward. I would like to conclude my welcoming remarks, wishing you are going to have wonderful national webinar. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Pak Entis, for the wonderful remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we will turn the time to our main sessions. And the first session will be presented by Dr. Gumawang Jati, and the session will be led by Dr. Randa Ati Herawati, MPD, as the moderator. Ibu Ati, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Ibu Tina. Bapak and Ibu, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Ati Herawati, and I'm one of the lecturers who are teaching TEFL. And this TEFL webinar is the first webinar held by English Language Education Study Program. But the TEFL class always have a workshop at the end of the semester. And this is not the first time for Pak Jati and Pak Heri to come to Pakuan University, but usually they came to Pakuan University offline, or they present their presentation live. Yeah, so this is the first time for webinar, but not the first time for the workshop and seminar. Welcome back to Pakuan University, Pak Jati. This is a bit different, ya Pak Jati. Usually you came here offline. Okay, I would like to read Pak Jati's CV. As mentioned by Ibu Tina as the Master of Ceremony, Pak Jati is the President of ITEL. And Pak Jati, first of all, I would like to read Pak Jati's education background. Pak Jati finished his S1 degree in IKIP Sanata Dharma in 1987 and continued to University of Warwick, England, 1989 to get his master degree. And he graduated from Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia in 2010 for his doctorate degree. And his working experience started by becoming an English teacher from 1990 up to present in Institut Teknologi Bandung, and English teacher and cross programmer, head of language center, general secretary, and the president of ITEL up until now. And his current workshop or seminar in 2020 started in July. He was one of the plenary speaker in Shafana Islamic School, Jakarta. And in August 2020, he ran a two-day online workshop in ITB Bandung. August 1990 as a plenary speaker in Universitas Serang Raya, Banten. And so 3 events on August. In September 2020, plenary speaker also in Semeo, Jakarta. And in September 2020 as plenary speaker again in Universitas Islam Sunan Ampel.
Ibu Ati, you are muted, sorry.
Yeah, in 2021, in January, I don't know, maybe this is the first time for Pak Jati to share his experience in Pakuan University. Right, without further ado, please welcome Pak Jati.
Okay, thank you very much, Bu Ati. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Sejahtera untuk kita semua. Selamat pagi and good morning. Okay, thank you very much for attending this conference. This is going to be my first time coming to Pakuan virtually. Usually I directly go there for face-to-face. Okay, let me share my slide. Can I share my slide? So here, share screen. Okay, so this is the title of my presentation, ART Challenges, Creating Activities and Facilitate Learning. So I'm not going to talk much about the theory, a little bit of advice here and there. And I want you to be active, participating in some activities. There's going to be a lot of activities. Then we discuss the activities that we did. Okay, I will start with the topic of the discussion. We could cover more or less 3 is ERT challenges, very general. To make online classroom more interactive, I'm not going to give advice, but I want you to try it. So I'm going to pretend to be a teacher, and then you to be the participants, and then you got the feel, and then we can discuss that later. We're going to talk a little bit about chunking the lesson into a series of activities. So this is what we are going to do for while you are working in or playing with the tools later. You can always ask question and put it in the chat box. Yeah. Now, to start with the chat box, what technological challenge, this is my question, challenges do you have when teaching or studying? Can you write that in the chat box, please? Let's see. Yeah, can you write that in the answer that in the chat box?
The chat box is off, Pak Jati. Bu
Oh.
Ati? Yeah, probably you the committee can activate if you need the chat box.
Yeah, I need the chat box to interact with the participants.
Oh, okay.
I have already activated the chat box, so everyone can write something there now.
Okay, thank you very much. Awesome. Okay, so the challenges, if you are students when you're studying, if you're a teacher when you're teaching. Knowledge on using the tools. Ibu Luciana or Luciana, thank you. Boredom. Pak Heri, come on. Okay, others? Kaptek, Bu Ati, ya, yang lain? So that's the challenge signal. Very good point. Connection problem. Thank you. Creating students and students interaction. Good. Thank you. So there are some challenges of interacting students and students. Yeah. Need a lot of preparation. Budini, I agree with you. Internet connection problem. Yes. Okay, we're going to talk about student and students interaction. We're going to talk about preparation, how to prepare online materials. And also we're going to mention some apps later on. Yeah. Internet connection problem, we're going to mention it, but there is no way out. Yeah, it's not in our capacity to install the connection. Not having enough time to explore the apps. Yes, I agree. Yeah, now let's move on a little bit. We're going to keep the chat box open because I need to ask some questions later on. Okay, this is the challenges. Technological challenges. Yeah, some of the areas they don't have the internet connection. Yeah, then if they have an internet connection, we have to ask ourselves, what type of smartphone do we have? What type of connection do we have? And then the next one is, yes, we have the smartphone, we have the connection, but we don't have enough data packets to access the learning materials. Another question, accessing learning materials through mobile phones, is it really sufficient? Or do we need laptops and so on and so on? So think about that. That's the challenges, not only for us in Indonesia, but that's become global challenge. Now, this is a little bit of knowledge that we should know about high bandwidth and low bandwidth. When your students don't have 4G on the 3G connection, then you have to use here collaborative document, group chat, messaging, no voice interaction, no face-to-face interaction, no video conferencing like this. Video conferencing and audio conferencing, that's a very high bandwidth. Jadi kalau yang mengajar di pedesaan atau signalnya kurang, mau mengajar speaking, sangat sulit. So think about that. Rather than you're wasting your time teaching speaking, which is almost impossible, maybe you have to teach something else. Nggak apa-apa sih speaking semester ini tidak terjadi, nggak apa-apa. Tapi they learn English, maybe vocabulary and so on and so on. So we have to do a lot of adjustment due to their connection. Ya, kalau enggak nanti malah speakingnya nggak jadi, materinya nggak jadi, semua frustrasi dan nggak suka bahasa Inggris. Ya, so think about that. So high bandwidth and low bandwidth, we have to know a little bit about that. That's for synchronous. Then asynchronous, again, if you ask your students to watch a lot of videos and so on, that's need a good internet connection. If they don't have internet connection, then we can have discussion board, we can ask them to read text, then sending emails, sending the answer to WhatsApp, and so on and so on. Yeah. So again, what very good materials using video, ya nggak apa-apa itu kalau kondisinya normal. Kalau kondisinya nggak normal, then don't force your students to do that, because that might cause a lot of frustration among students and they become demotivated. Yeah. So that's the technological challenges. Now, next questions in the chat box. What are your favorite apps for teaching and learning, or for learning if you are students? Zoom, expensive. Connection is expensive. The quota is Padlet, thank you. Savitri, yes, from Kaltim. Thank you for joining. Yeah, WhatsApp group. Okay. Google Meet also quite high. Bandwidth, Canvas, learning apps. Well, everybody now exploring a lot of apps. Yeah, good point. A little bit of advice. When you know a lot of apps, do not keep it for yourself. Please share with your friend at the same school at least. Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that before later. Yeah, Telegram, Zoom. Okay, thank you very much for the response. We're going to mention some of the apps that you have mentioned here. Let me continue. Now this one, pedagogical challenges. You mentioned earlier, the teachers need skill in using technology for creating learning materials. Zaman dulu kalau mau create learning material, ya pakai fotokopi, pakai gunting, pakai kertas dilem gitu. Ya, it's a paper, it's something that you can touch. But creating learning materials with a digital, something new for the student. You create a worksheet. Now the worksheet is not photocopiable. Then you need a digital worksheet, how to create that. And then you have to deliver the lesson digitally, online. So that's become a challenge. It's not easy. Yeah. Now, another challenge for the school, or if you have a course or whatever, yeah, teachers need materials in the form of interactive multimedia. Apakah sekolahnya punya cukup bahan-bahan interaktif multimedia? If not, why don't you contribute to the school? You create something and then share, put it in the box, put it in a server or share with other teachers. Yeah. Not recreate similar things. Jadi kayaknya harus mulai fotokopinya yang digital itu sharing dengan yang lain. If you create animation, do not keep it for yourself. Please share at least with the same teachers from the same schools. Yeah, by doing so, then there are a lot of interactive multimedia that you can share with your teachers so that you are not too busy replicating something else. Ya, jadi kolaborasinya mungkin harus mulai dipikirkan. Kan kemarin pandemi sudah 1 tahun ya, pasti sudah punya soal banyak di quizzes, punya di dan segala macam. Why don't you share with other lecturers or with other teachers? Then itu akan memberi ide bisa dan seterusnya. Ya. teachers need the student feedback and evaluation system. So feedback and evaluation system seharusnya yang memikirkan kepala sekolah atau sekolah, not individual teachers. Yeah. Because when you give feedback using WA, terus kalau si Pak A pakai WA, kalau Pak Jati pakai email, kalau siapa lagi pakai apa gitu, yang mabuk muridnya. So they have to think about one way, nggak semua harus pamer aku tahu tools ini. Yeah. What I notice is that a lot of teachers giving feedback. Why do you do that? Karena aku sukanya ini, tapi tanpa memikirkan bahwa siswanya dalam satu hari harus membuka banyak aplikasi gara-gara semua tidak ada sistemnya. Gara-gara feedbacknya ya seenak gurunya yang sudah capek gitu. So think about that. That's a pedagogical challenges on that. Social challenge that we cannot do a lot about this. We have to realize that the students, maybe they don't have suitable home learning environment. So we have to have a sympathy a lot in that. Lagi mau dengerin kuliahnya Putina, tiba-tiba disuruh bantu ngepel. Kumaha tuh. Atau lagi ada apa, the suitable home learning environment, maybe it's not there. The parents, maybe they don't know. Anakku main game apa, kuliah, nggak jelas gitu kan. Orang tuanya yang tidak ngerti, ya diteriakin, why you are there? Ini loh, warungnya lagi rame, why don't you help me? Yeah. So suitable learning environment is really important. Atau dia punya adik banyak, dia lagi mau belajar, terus ribut di rumahnya. Yeah, things like that. Put that in a consideration. Kasihan mahasiswa, kasihan siswanya. Yeah. Now, chunking learning activities. So we have to have introduction with a series of activities. We have to deliver the knowledge or bridging the knowledge again with activities. Then we have the main activities, usually skills, reading skills, listening skills, or whatever. Then reflection and then productive activities. Yeah, this is the ideal. I'm going to give you an example, so bear with me later on to do the activities. Ya, nanti kita akan bicara soal ini. Now, simple ways to make your online classroom more interactive. Ya, you have to cultivate the interaction between teachers and students. Itu sudah biasanya terjadi, but among students themselves, that's very difficult when we do have it online. With Zoom, it's not, the students, they don't interact with other students. Ya, kalau kuliahnya bosan, tinggalin sama dia. Ya. Now, make your online classroom more interactive, create real-time interaction. That's why I want to have my chat on, because I want to interact with you somehow here and there. Get creative with discussion board. We're going to talk about that later, and also engagement with non-tasks. Yeah. Okay. We're going to practice this, but before that, anggapan yang kadang-kadang salah. Real-time interaction. Bagaimana Bapak Ibu interaksinya? Bagus, saya pakai Google Meet, saya pakai Zoom, dan segala macam. Real-time conversation don't occur during a video lecture. Jadi kalau ngajar speaking, mau conversation terus pakai Zoom, pikir lagi, is that real conversation happen there? What's the difference with the classroom interaction? Yeah. When you post announcements, you think that they have a conversation between students or you and the student. No. They read the announcement and then they answer the question. That's it. No real conversation. So the challenge for online learning is to create environment in a conversation, yeah, like face-to-face. That's a big challenge. Mungkin atau tidak? Mungkin, tapi sangat sulit memang. Yeah, let's see later what happened. Yeah. Another advice, integrate real-time interaction. Have impromptu conversation outside Zoom. Punya Facebook Live kadang-kadang, punya grup Telegram itu mungkin perlu ya. So you have to facilitate interaction or students to students yang sedikit-sedikit nggak formal gitu, informally, tapi synchronous. Itu bisa pakai Facebook Group Live, bisa pakai WhatsApp. Kalau saya pakai Telegram, ya, to interact with my students outside the classroom. Ya, janjian itu penting. Ya. Okay, short survey first. Can you go to bit.ly jati minus unpak 01 along the ISO. Yeah, can you go there and then do the short survey? bit.ly jati minus unpak 01. Ada yang bisa bantu ngetik di chat? Mungkin saya coba ya. I put it in the link in the chat room so it's easier for you. bit.ly jati minus unpak 01. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Oh, you have already taken the, sorry, I have to go to the view. Okay, I stop sharing for a while. I have to check the link. Okay, thank you for participating. Let's see the result. Okay, Padlet is the most popular. At the moment, 23 participants respond to this. Yang lain mana? Ini banyak sekali. Ayo, mari kita akan bermain-main banyak dengan apps nanti. Padlet, then Jamboard, then Notebook, then Jamboard, Paintboard, Linoid, good. Scrabble, it's only 17%. Storming, 13%. Yeah, all of these apps, it's very good for brainstorming to get ideas. Yeah. Mari yang lain, kalau masih mau ikutan boleh. Oke, kayaknya 23 ikutan. Good, hope you can participate later in the next activity. Yeah, then I continue. Now, get creative with discussion board. Discussion board before or after synchronous lecture or main activity. I'm going to give you an example of how to do optimize the discussion board before the class. I'm going to teach you today. The topic is about robot teacher. Yeah. So you're going to learn about robot teacher. Now, can you go to bit.ly/jati minus unpak 02. Join the chat. Pak Heri, can you help me and type this in the chat room?
Sure, Pak.
Okay, thank you. tua itu bisa nyuruh-nyuruh.
I'm the one who is supposed to help you, ya Pak.
You can help me as well. Can ask Pak Eri.
That's okay, Bu.
Yeah, that's the task. So you put your name there. That's about the smart robot. Wait. Attention, due to the frequent misuse of the chat tools, we are forced to remove it by the end of 2020. Oh, I created yesterday and rupanya karena banyak digunakan di misuse sama orang, so tapi boleh sekarang bisa masuk. Ya. So 71 user, thank you. Good morning. Then yes, good morning. How are you? Very good. Test good. Now, what's the questions? The question is, what tasks of teachers will be taken by robots? That's the questions for you. I'm in. Good morning. Yeah. What tasks will be taken by robot? Giving feedback, making task item, thank you. Grading, yes. Assessment, thank you. Yeah. Listening task, okay. Feedback, giving grade, okay. So there are many things that will be taken by robot. Yeah. Thank you. Attendance, taking attendance, Unika routine, reviewing text, very good. Okay, thank you very much for joining the chat. So usually I use this type of chat before I start my Zoom meetings. Yeah, so interactive with them using a low bandwidth, not spoken. Yeah, so they answer there. Now, the students, they don't really interact. Yeah, they don't really have the conversation, but they can see that their friends are there. Yeah, the presence of their friends in the chat rooms. Okay, good. Stop playing with the chat. Now let's move to the next one. Pinboard picture. You have to go to bit.ly/jati-unpak03. Still about robot teacher. So after giving you a chat, in a real class, I will take longer time. This is just to do a demo so that you have the feel of that. Yeah. Okay, bit.ly/jati-unpak03. Now let's see what's in there. It's a robot picture. The question is, when you see these pictures, what comes to your mind? Then when you want to click the add note with text, that's in the top left-hand corner. Yeah. Type your answer there. 50 users. Oh, thank you. So again, this is after doing the chat very quick. Usually I prompt the student thinking before they read text about a robot with pictures. Yeah, so this is similar to activities that come in front of the class and show pictures to the students, and the students have to respond to your question. The difference is if you do it in face-to-face, shy students will not answer usually. When you have a digital list, the participation is more active. The students, the shy students, will type their answer there. Similar to what happened in with the chat. Okay, so the student teach, yes. Robot teacher, one. Robot helping learning. Human teachers cannot be replaced by a robot. Okay. No emotional interaction, but they move very funny. Yeah. They can entertain the students. Real teacher is more charming. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. So this is the response of text that you can do that. Yeah. This is using a board from learning apps. Now let me continue. So you got the feeling on that. Yeah. Thank you very much. Now let's move to number 4. Yeah. Jati.ly/Jati minus Unpak 04. That's a pin board, but at the moment, but for this time, I'm using a video. So you have to respond to a video that's I posted in the pin board. Yeah. Bit.ly Jati minus Unpak 04. The video, it's about 2 minutes only. What do you think about Robert after watching the shorts video? You can respond in using a text. Yeah, add note, a new note with the text. Still about Robert. So after doing the chat, then I prompt with questions, then with pictures, then the students respond to that pictures. Then I prompt this with a video. Let's see. And you do not need to watch until the end, but the video is around 2 minutes, I think. Okay, is something interesting, very good. Can help your daily activities, yes. Robot Ariel, some common wow, yeah. Make the people fun, or robot is something interesting. Okay, robot help. Okay, so that's just an example of using a video. Yeah. So think about other activities later on. Yeah. Let's move on. Then we can discuss how to use it and so on later. Move on so that you can have another activity. Yeah. So that's number 4. Now let's move to number 5. bit.ly/jati minus unpak 05. This is a notebook. You have to respond in a writing. Yeah. So after short chat, then I prompt with a picture, then I prompt with a video, very short, then I prompt this with a notebook. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, what you have to do is, what kind of robot do you want to have? Click create new topics. Then type your answer. What kind of robot do you want to have? Then you click the topic here. Then type your name. And then start typing. Yeah. Title of your topic, for example, robot that can cook, and then you write your post there and then share it. For example, I write robot that or cooking robot, for example. Then here I want to have 10 robots to help me cook, for example. Yeah. So it's posted there. Yeah. We have Lungu, for instance. I would like to have robot that will remind me to finish all my tasks. Helper robot. Okay. Wirahayu, it's very helpful for me as a part of a housewife. Okay. Yeah, so this is again a notebook to share with the whole class. So everyone in the class, they can have the access to other friends' opinion or writing, in the form of a notebook, and then they can keep this notebook as well before the main lesson. Yeah. Okay. Robot like Misa who help full and entertaining. Okay. Okay, so this is a notebook. Let's move a little bit. So this is a learning apps. Now I'm going to do a very quick demo. I provide you with tutorials later, but I would like to give a quick demo on learning apps. So learning apps, it's free apps. There are a lot of things that you can do. First, you have to create an account. You log in, and then you create an account, register a new account, and so on. It's like when you create an email. So it's very easy, piece of cake. Now, you can browse apps. There are a lot of things that you can do. You can do not just for English, it's for chemistry, engineering, and so on. This is from elementary level. If you scroll up this one, slide it to the right, then it will go to higher level. Yeah. So there are a lot of levels here. You can do it for ST, SMB, and also SMR, and even a university level to create the apps. So you create your own apps, interactive one. Now, when you create the apps, you click create. What I did, it's not for you to practice earlier. It's tools. So when you create apps, then where is the tool? Create apps. This is, you can create a multiple choice, you can create pair word, multiple choice, and so on. You need is an idea, then you pick the template here, then you follow the steps. If what's come out is not in English, you have to change here, change the flag into English, because this is the original one, I think, is in German, yeah, not in English. Yeah. When you browse the apps, you have a sample of the apps there. Yeah. Okay, this is my apps that I have created. It's in the form of folders. Yeah, there. So you can explore it on your own. I already provide you with tutorials. Yeah, so that's learning apps that we just practice. Now, so I start my lesson with a chat, then with pictures, then with a short video, then with a notebook. If you pay attention to that, all of the tasks are very easy. It's a warming up activities, yeah, to prepare the students to think about robot teacher before they read a little bit of a difficult text. Yeah. So after they do, after you did all of the activity, or if you are my students, then I will take the students into a reading text. I already prepared here. Yeah, but I will not do it with you. Yeah. So then I ask the student to read the text. Then I will ask later students to answer the questions in quizzes or in the learning management system. Yeah. So before I ask my student to read difficult text, I have to prepare with a lot of chunking exercises. Start from chat, using pictures, using videos, and they have to write something about robot based on their knowledge. Then I give them this text. Okay. Then I have to write comprehension questions. When I have to write comprehension questions, tadi sudah ada yang nyebut, ada yang namanya Quillians. That's an AI robot that will help you to create the questions, comprehension question. It's in here using Quillians, and then I can put the question in quizzes for my students, or I put the questions in the learning management system. Yeah. So that's an example of chunking the lesson and optimizing using pinboard and chatboard in a short activity, so that the student will not get bored and getting excited into the lesson, hopefully. Okay. Now, as an English teacher, what kind of robot do you need? Now, again, I ask you to go to bit.ly Jati-Unpak 6. Let's see. As an English teacher or student, what kind of robot do you want? Then you have to record your answer. Just click record, and then that will record your answer. For example, if I click record, then here, what is your name as an English teacher or students, what kind of robot do you want? I click record. My name is Jati. I'm an English teacher. I want a robot that can help me in correcting my students' work. Thank you. And I stop that. Then that's uploading my answer. Then I can listen again or I can save. Yeah. Yeah, then I can save it. So here, this is my recording. Kalau mau mencoba, silakan. Still, after they read, I ask their opinion orally, and it's recorded over the cloud. Still about robot teacher. Yang mau mencoba, boleh silakan. Okay, it's only one recording, but that's okay. I think you got the idea, yeah? Now let's move on a little bit. Or after reading, I will ask them what are the advantages or disadvantages of replacing teachers with robot. Write your answer in short essay. I ask them to upload it in Padlet or learning management system. I prefer in Padlet because then they can share with other students and they can give comment to other students. Yeah. Okay. So in short, when I did elicitations, I'm using chat, I'm using pictures, I'm using a video, and also I'm using notebook to build the knowledge about robot teacher. So I'm doing the introduction and knowledge building here with that activities. Then the main activities, I give them reading text. Yeah. After the reading text, they do the exercise, comprehension question, and so on and so on. Yeah. Then after that, I ask them to start with the speaking. What kind of robot do you want to have? Yeah, very short one, so they're comfortable with that, sharing with other group and so on. Then I ask them to write an essay about robot teacher. So if you experience some of that up to here, yeah. But this is just an example, illustrations of a topic, robot teacher, that maybe will last for, I don't know, 1 month, 4 weeks, or 3 weeks activity, short, put it in a chunk, so that the student will not get bored and they got enough knowledge to write or to produce something. Yeah. That's the idea of using a lot of technological tools and how to handle it. Itu ya, nanti kita diskusikan. This is what I did. Now, another one, it's maximizing engagement with non-task interaction. Non-task interaction, during the ERT, I'm using a Telegram group. Yeah. And I always answer the students' questions and so on using a Telegram. For example, like this one. Pak, saya sudah klik English mid test, tapi soalnya tidak muncul. Bagaimana ya, Pak? Yeah. So this is in the middle of a mid test. I have to open my Telegram, accompany my students there because there are a lot of technical questions. And this is an example. Another one, gentle reminder. Before next week lecture, I would be great if you watch these 2 recordings. Yeah, so they have to watch the recording, answer simple questions before my Zoom meeting. Yeah, this is communication with the students outside the classroom, outside the virtual classroom, little bit unscheduled, but then just to communicate that they will ask me or I can give a short prompt to them, kind of reminders and so on and so on. Banyak yang lucu-lucu biasanya terjadi di sini. Ya. So this is the video tutorials. I'm using pull at the beginning, using poll junkie. If you want to know what it is, you click that. We'll go to the video tutorial. Some of you familiar with Padlet. If you are not really familiar with Padlet, you can click here and then watch the tutorial. I mentioned Williams. That's AI that will help you creating questions, comprehension questions. You can click here. If you want to create quizzes for your students after they read the text, after they listen and so on, you can go to quizzes. Click here and that's the tutorial. Then Voice Spice, that's the recording that I show you after the lesson that they have giving opinions. I'm using this Voice Spice. If you click here, then they will give you a tutorial. And this is the tutorial for learning apps. Yeah. So that's all. Thank you. If you want to access this slide, you can go to bit.ly/jati-unpak. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, you can type it in the chat room, or Ibu Atik will help moderating the session. Give it back to you, Ibu Atik.
Thank you very much, Pak Jati. What is that? Okay, right. Whenever I attend your presentation, I always learn something new. Pak Jati, I have written in the chat room to let the participant to ask question. So far, I got one question from Dini Irawati. Yeah, the question is: Can learning apps apply in more than one subject?
The answer is yes. Learning apps is open. It's not only for English. It could be for other subjects like chemistry, astronomy, math, physics, because it's an open apps. Yeah.
So it's not only for English subject, ya Pak Jati.
Yes.
Okay. Right, and there is no other question except this one. Can we have the link of the learning apps? I think it's easy to find it on the internet, right, Pak Jati?
Yeah. If you go to bit.ly/jati-unpak and then you click the tutorial, there will be a link. Or very easy, Google learning apps, that will take you there.
All right. Well, Bapak and Ibu, we still have a lot of time with Pak Jati, yeah, based on the time schedule. We still have a session with Pak Jati until 9:45. So please use the time effectively. Mumpung ada Pak Jati loh di sini, yeah. Maybe you can ask question by raising hand, or maybe the question from YouTube. Can anyone help me showing question from YouTube? The committee, please. Thank you very much for Fikri and Syahya, who has given the site of learning apps on the chat room. Thank you. For the committee, would you please send us the question from YouTube, because we also have YouTube streaming, Pak Jati, for this. Okay, here we go. There is a question from Effie Wisma. Yeah. How about assessment? Is there any application tools for assessment, Pak Jati?
Application for?
Application for assessment.
Oh yeah. application for assessments, there are some. Uh, um, depends what are you going to assess. Quizzes is also for assessment, could be. Yeah, because it's assessment of learning or assessment for learning. So there are many things that you can use that. How to create quizzes, it's for assessment. If you want to assess speaking, then you can use voice spies, for instance. It's also possible. Yeah, there are many. Very
There are many
easy.
applications depending on the type of assessment, ya Pak Jati.
Yes, yes. If you want to know, ask Google. And they will give you lists. Then you have to try. Oh, this one is not suitable for me. This one, and so on and so on. There's always many applications right now available because of the pandemic.
It always come back to us, ya Pak Jati. We have to select the one that is appropriate for our goals or objective. Okay. Here we have a question from Maria Finecki. Do you have any recommendation to make interactive teaching and learning process for students with limited access of internet, Pak?
Yeah, limited access of internet learning apps. It's very light. That's why I give a show how it works. It's not brilliant. It's not bling bling. It's using words, very simple picture that students type and so on. But it's a low bandwidth. So try it. Yeah. And it's not only for English, so it's very flexible. Of course, then it's need time to create the apps and need time to prepare and so on. Yeah. So that's my answer to Ibu Maria.
And it's free access, right, Pak Jati? I mean, we don't have to pay for.
No, it's free.
It's free. Yeah, that's also important for us, whether the application is free or we should pay. Thank you, Pak Jati. The next question is from Hana Alatas. She asked, how do you give feedback during this remote learning?
I'm giving feedback to my students. Usually I'm using Padlet. Then I have a comment at the end of their writing because I'm teaching writing this semester. I also get feedback orally using video, using a software like Screencastify or Screencast-O-Matic. So if you go to YouTube, that type my name, there are sample of my feedback to my students.
Okay.
So I give like oral feedback. Kalau pakai tulisan terus kadang-kadang mahasiswa nggak ngerti juga. So it's very short, like 2 minutes, 3 minutes feedback to my students.
So the feedback can be given orally or in a written form, yeah?
Written, yes.
And to avoid misunderstanding, you prefer using oral feedback, ya Pak Jati, even though it is very short, but you are sure that students understand. Yeah, that's very important as well. Yeah, that's the answer, for Hana Alatas. I got a message that there is no question yet from YouTube streaming, Pak Jati. So maybe from the floor, you can raise your hand if you are lazy to write your question on the chat room. Yeah, sometimes people like to say something rather than write something, Pak Jati.
Yeah.
We still have a lot of time, Bapak Ibu.
There is a question here about chat from Jessica. Dealing with students who are reluctant to be in class. Well, it's very much depends on the situation and the topics. You cannot make everyone active. Yeah. If you ask me how, it's I don't have the right answer because I know how to deal with my ITP students. But in your setting, I don't know. I can crack jokes, for instance. I can ask their friend help and so on. But in a different setting, maybe it's a different. Yeah. My opinion must help from their friend to make him or her active. So do it indirectly. That might help. That's what usually I do. Another question here from
Ibu Isti.
Yeah.
From Ibu Isti, from Bu Istiklalia. Yeah. In your opinion, to be attached to our LMS for material delivery, which one is more effective? Making our own video or looking for videos from YouTube and upload them in the LMS? Which one is more effective?
Yeah, which one is more effective? Depends. Are you busy? If you are busy, use others. As simple as that. Karena kalau kita sibuk mau bikin video yang bagus nggak bisa. So it's look at your situation. Yeah. If you are not busy creating your own, it's a lot better. But if you're not busy, yeah, the students will respect you more on that. This is my lecture, put an effort and so on. And also the way you deliver the materials, you know audience. Kalau kita pakai video orang lain tidak tahu our students. But again, if you're very busy, don't try to make a good video. Yeah, better maybe use others.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, it would be better if we make our own, ya Pak Jati. If we are not busy, but if we are busy, we better use the ready-made video, ya. Banyak video bagus-bagus dari YouTube ya Pak Jati. Why not? If it relates to the topic that we discuss in the class. Okay, Pak Jati, we come to the next question from Muhammad Bunif. Is there any good apps for listening and creating the listening questions? Yeah, for listening class and listening questions.
Listening, I will advise go to Ello. I type it in chat with 3l.org. There are a lot of materials already made there, thousands of them. Have a look at that. If you time, you can create your own. But before creating your own, explore first. Hello. .org.
Pak Muhammad Bunif, maybe you can just try browse the internet and find ELO. ELO. All right. The next question comes from Dwi Rahayu Wijayanti. Can we use learning apps as an asynchronous activity? If yes, Pak Jati.
Yes, is learning app good for synchronous or asynchronous? It can be for, what we did is for synchronous, yeah, but there are some that you can use it for asynchronous. Yeah, explore the learning app.
Pak Jati. Pak Rahmat asks whether or not you agree that someday artificial intelligence technology replaces teachers' role.
My connection or Ibu Ati's connection?
Do you agree with that or not?
I can hear Pak Jati.
That's the question.
You can hear me or you cannot hear me?
I can hear your voice, Pak
Because of
Jati.
what his connection?
Yeah, it's Bu Ati's connection. It seems like.
Yeah, it's. And also I hear feedback somehow. I can hear my own voice.
Right. Can you hear my voice now, Pak Jati?
Clear.
Can you hear my voice now, Pak Jati?
Yes, I think there is a feedback
Okay.
somewhere, maybe in the committee. The committee, can you turn off some of the maybe with the YouTube streaming, because I can hear my own voice.
I can hear my own as well.
Yeah, so it's disturbing somehow.
Yes. How about now,
Okay,
Pak
can
Jati? Is it clear now?
yeah, it's better now. Yeah,
Mhm. Can we continue
okay,
with the next question?
Yeah, I'll question. Yeah.
Mhm.
In your opinion,
Yeah,
sir, is
question
there
from Pak
any
Rohmat whether.
that the future of role of teacher will be replaced by technology? No, it's impossible. No way. But technology will help the teachers. Artificial intelligence will work hand in hand with teachers and students, but not replace. Ya. Kalau dijelaskan panjang lebar, rame nanti. But that's the key.
Sure.
No way to replace. Yeah, but they will work together with us. If you cannot work with AI, then you're going to be left behind. Yeah. My student asked me to make my own video, sir. Okay, create your own then. You can use Screencast-O-Matic or Screencastify. Good morning, Pak Jati. Currently, I'm teaching writing, and I sometimes check my students' writing by using add-on in the Google Docs. Okay, says writing reviser as you suggested in the last presentation. Okay, good, Pak. Ask your students to use the writing reviser, not for you to check, but for them to check themselves. Jadi kita nanti koreksinya nggak ngoreksi grammar, tapi lebih ke, oh ini target audiensnya kurang bagus, and so on. Okay, my question says, can my student also use the same apps to check the writing? Yes. Pak Jati, quizzes cannot be used for listening tests because it's not free for some part. You have to use the premium in order to upload the listening audios. Yes, I agree. Are there any alternative for uploading listening audio for free? Uploading audios for free. I don't know. Maybe Pak Harry later knows more about apps for listening. Ya, saya kurang tahu untuk yang listening yang for free. Okay. Then, Pak Jati, what is your students' response during using the apps? They are happy. No complaints so far. Would you like to explain how thinking process happened during using technological tools? Thinking process, that should be in a different topics. It will take a long time to explain this. That's another matters. If you like to know more, you can email me, Ibu or Bapak Renault, ya. Tapi nggak akan saya jawab di sini. Kasihan yang lain tidur nanti dengerin thinking process. Okay, email me. I will respond on that. Okay, Renata. Greeting from Ambon. Thank you very much. Hope I can go to Ambon again. Thank you. Okay, I think the questions from the chat box is finished, Ibu Ati. Back to you.
Yes, Pak Jati, I'm sorry about the action in my place. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now,
Yes,
Pak
clear.
Jati?
Yes, I can hear you.
Well, the question about response, I think, relates to the reflection. One of the slide for your in your presentation talking about reflection activities, Pak Jati. about the response when you said my students were happy with my class. Does it relate to reflection activities?
No, the reflection activity. I skipped that.
Halo Pak Jati. Yeah.
And, usually, I will ask the students orally to the reflections. What do you think about this robot? Do you have any problem, and so on? Using that tools. But for this particular presentation, I skipped that because that's take a lot of time to practice with you guys in this room.
Okay. As I can see from your slide.
Yes, Ibu, I cannot hear you.
Okay, well. Oh, okay. Sorry. I think it's about the connection in my place. So there's no other question. I think we can end your presentation.
Sure,
Or maybe
sure.
there is other, yeah, there are other questions because we still have time actually.
Maybe we can use the time for Pak Heri so that we have more discussion later with Pak Heri as well.
Okay, yeah, Pak Jati will stay, right? So that is a question for you. After Pak Heri's presentation, you can still answer it.
Hopefully, I cannot promise because I have a mid test. I have to accompany my students. They have a mid test at 10 o'clock.
All right. Okay, thank you very much, Pak Jati, for your insightful presentation. We hope that we can try to apply those apps in our class. Thank you very much. Once again, give the Pak Jati a big applause. Thank you very much, Pak Jati. Ibu Tina, I will return the floor to
All right,
you.
thank you, Ibu Ati. Pak Jati, thank you very much. I joined most of your sessions, but finally, now today, I got new insights again from you. Thank you very much. Because you have another things to do. Why don't we take pictures first before I go to Pak Heri? Because I'm afraid later on, Pak Jati. Okay, how about taking pictures? Is it fine before we go to the next session?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. There are 9 pages here, but I'm sorry, I'm going to take pictures only for those who turn on the camera. Okay. Page 1. Give me your best smile. 1, 2. Okay. The second page. 1, 2, 3. Okay. The third. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Fourth page. 1, 2, 3. And the fifth. Nobody turn on the camera. So later on, I will take the pictures later. Thank you very much. Pak Jati, thank you very much again for your insightful sharing. Bapak Ibu, now we go to the second session. It will be delivered by Pak Heri. Sometimes I call him Beli Heri from Bali. And this session will be led by Ibu Asih Wayuni, MPD. Ibu Asih, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Butina.
Good morning, Bapak dan Ibu. I'm Asy Wahyuni, the moderator for the second session of this webinar. Bapak dan Ibu, I'm pleased to introduce you to Pak Made Heri Santosa, PhD. Pak Heri is our second speaker. Welcome to Unpak, Pak Heri. Nice
Yes,
to
good
see you
morning.
online.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you,
Good
Mas.
morning, Pak Heri.
Good morning.
Before the presentation begins, allow me to read Pak Heri's CV. That's me, the description. Bapak dan Ibu, CV-nya Pak Heri panjang. Jadi saya akan summarize aja ya. Pak Heri earned his Doctor of Philosophy at La Trobe University, Australia. He is now entitled Head of Online Learning Center at Universitas Pendidikan Ganesha, Bali. Pak Heri is well known for his activities in TEFL, especially technology enhanced language learning field. He is one of the punggawas in ITEL ya Pak Heri. Presidennya tadi sudah yang pertama. Pak Heri is doing a lot of academic works and publication. Me to mention several the publication. He's a journal reviewer at TESOL, IGLEAL Malaysia, and also another journal. He has so many publication here. Dealing with language learning, of course, and dealing with TEL, of course. And wow, hebat sekali Pak Heri sudah punya publikasi di tahun 2021. Great, Pak Heri, good luck and congratulations. And Pak Heri got so many awards, such as the award got from European Research Council, TESOL Research, TESOL Access, Golden Key, International Honor Society Award, 3-minute thesis winner, and so on and so forth. Wow, great Pak Heri, ini menginspirasi sekali. Without further ado, I would like to welcome Pak Made Heri Santosa, PhD. I'm sure we will all enjoy listening to his presentation. Pak Heri, time is yours.
Thank you very much, Mbak Asy. Good morning, everyone. Selamat pagi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Om Swastiastu, salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Thank you very much for inviting me once again. Because last time I remember that I went to Universitas Pakuan myself and also shared with you there. And this year, I'm happy to be invited again from Ibu Ati to share with you together with Pak Jati, my teacher also here, and I'm sure that we can learn together. I'm happy to meet some of you that I know, like Pak Dekan, Pak Antis, and also Bu Ati, Bu Tina, Mbak Asy, the one that also I met last year.
Yes.
And then also others, yeah. Happy to meet you all. I would like to share with you things that I want to talk. Ajati already shared with you a lot. So I'm trying to look from a different angle now by looking a specific context called concurrent virtual classroom, or CVC. Okay, so I am Made Heri Santosa. You can call me Made or Heri. I'm from Universitas Pendidikan Ganesha, Bali. So what I'm going to share with you today is this. As I told you, Pak Jati already talked a lot, isn't it, Pak Jati? So Pak Jati already shared what happened, and also, so I think my section will be wrap up only Pak Jati and Ibu Bapak. Yeah, so I come to summary only now. Yeah. So let me share with you actually a way to reflect. Yeah, because we already have this situation for almost 1 year. So I don't think it is needed anymore for talking a lot about the situation again, but how you cope with the situation. For last year, I already traveled in some places in Indonesia also and share with many people a lot about how to tackle with this emergency remote teaching. The question now is it still a problem? Yeah, is it still emergency for us, right? So let me bring you together to what happened so far. So for the last 1 year, almost 1 year, we already experienced a lot. We are forced to jump into a situation that we don't know. We are forced to use things that we are not familiar with. We are forced to adapt ourselves with many unfamiliar things, many unprecedented things, yeah, many emergency things. So actually, what happened so far, we have a lot of things happening. If I look from the pedagogical perspectives, what Pak Jatim shared just now can be summed up with what is called new paradigm. In new paradigm, there are several key concepts, Ibu Bapak. The first one, you as a lecturer or educator are always encouraged to go into student-centered learning fashion. You have heard about this from so long, but then the question is, have you implemented it? Have you conducted it? So student-centered learning can be trivial, can be easy to hear. Yeah, you heard about this a lot, but the question is, did you implement it already? If you want to know more about student-centered learning, you can read from several selection of resources that I picked here. What happens in student-centered learning, Ibu Bapak? You know about this already. You deal with different generations of learners. Pak Jati and I also shared a lot about this. You know that the teachers sometimes are baby boomers and the students are generation Z or generation Alpha. So their characteristics are different. You are required as an educator to drive your teaching and learning and also your students into learner autonomic fashion. You can use different terms. I just want to tell you that they are not similar. They are not the same, but they can be parallel in a way. So meaning that when you teach, you want to make your students active in student-centered learning. Yeah, you want your students to be autonomous and know what to do by themselves. And at the same time, you as an educator are also encouraged to shift your role into more of co-learner, or another term which is more familiar to you is called facilitator. So with this first concept of new paradigm, the question is, you've heard about it, but have you implemented it? Okay. There is a claim from these two people here. So Indonesian culture, learning culture, is known to be rote or passive, where our students are all memorize a lot to get high score. They get high score, but probably they don't understand. How do you know that they don't understand? If you give a different type of question or case, probably not all of your students who got high score are able to answer it because they just memorize it. In other words, they just perform a low order thinking skill. Yeah. So that's why rote learning, memorization, passive learning, and teacher-centeredness must be recontextualized today. Because, you know, education today must drive your students into the ability to be ready to collaborate in the global world. Another key concept in new paradigm is called 21st century learning. You know about this already. What happens here? First, Pak Jati already talked a lot about the use of apps and the way chunking the materials. This is relevant to the term called digital pedagogies. That is how you understand the objective of your lesson, how you then create meaningful learning activities using relevant learning technologies. So now you know a lot of technologies, right? You mentioned a lot in chat system just now. Most of them are Zoom, like today, WhatsApp. This is what happens in our case now. Telegram. Some of you probably use other things like Educandy. Now there are so many platforms compared to our time, especially Pak Jati's time, where you can just create any technological based materials yourself. Yeah, you don't need to go to experts this time. For example, using Educandy, you can learn it by yourself, and then you just put the materials there, and then the games or the media for learning based on technologies will be available. You also probably use Wakelet, Google Classroom, quiz type like Kahoot or Quizzes, Padlet, Mentimeter, or FluentKey. This is similar to Edpuzzle, if you are familiar with Edpuzzle, and talk on command add-ons in Chrome or YouTube and so on. You may want to go to top tools for learning for 2020 list. Yeah. And then you also probably play around with AI, as Pak Jati mentioned just now, artificial intelligence. You are familiar with Sophia, for example, the first robot granted for citizenship in the world. You probably play around with Google AI experiments. Yeah. Some of you probably come across to extended reality concept like virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed realities. So there are so many digital access and platforms available today. Also, in the 21st century learning, you are overwhelmed by the term of Industrial Revolution 4.0. I'm sure that you know about this already, but do you really know it well? Can you apply it in your classroom? Equip your students especially to be ready to face the 4.0 era. And not to mention, in the Industrial Revolution, you are also required as a teacher to equip your students to have the skills needed. There are several terms. You probably know 4 C's, and some other call it 6 C's, with the addition of citizenship and character, which are needed in the global educational system now. Fullan mentioned this as deep learning. Okay, so another key concept in new paradigm is coming from our government. There are so many policies available now. You know about Merdeka Belajar, you know about Kampus Merdeka. In pandemic system, you know also Kurikulum Darurat, and there is one initiative called Guru Penggerak. They are policies, and some of you probably implement this in the universities. For example, in Merdeka Belajar, it is expected that there will be no national exam. The lesson plan must be very brief, like 1 page only. In Kampus Merdeka, there is an opportunity for your students to go cross curriculum or cross universities to equip themselves, not only learning about their subject like English, for example, but they can also learn about business. Why? Because they will face a different world. If you are quoting, if I quote Professor Casali's term, tomorrow is today. So you have to be ready. Yeah. Right. So with having those terms and concepts in what is called new paradigm, we now come into the situation which is very critical. because of the pandemic. It is called emergency remote teaching. I put this into gray because there is a question now, is it still emergency? When it came into on March last year, people are shocked and not ready, right? We are not ready. That's why people call it emergency. But then starting from July, that is the new semester in 2020, people are expected to be ready, to be more ready, because you have time to prepare the syllabus, for example, or the lesson plans. But using my experience, it seems that not all of us are ready yet with remote teaching. We are still in the situation of emergency remote teaching. What is emergency remote teaching? You know about this already. So there is a temporary shift of instructional delivery happening because of crisis, like war, conflict, or pandemic like today. Now, that is what happened so far. So people talk a lot about this, and then what do we have now? From my journeys last year, and then also at the beginning of this year, there are so many things that have been said by respondents or participants, for example. One of the question is like this. So if I ask them whether they created an introduction video at the beginning of their online class, from one of my sessions, more of them created that one. And this is important. Yeah, this is important. Now you are going to start your new semester. Try to be more engaged with your students. Why creating an introductory video is important? Because this is a part of a concept called humanizing online learning. You have to humanize your online learning, especially when you never meet your students. Now there is a big chance that you never meet your students, whether they are newly enrolled because they are from senior high schools, or they're from different class. Especially if you are like in my situation, I teach like 300 students every semester. Sometimes I don't meet different classes. Yeah, so sometimes I meet new students in parallel class. So it is important to create something close, something personal at the beginning, in the middle, and also at the end. This is also another thing that I asked, what concerning with what we have now. So far you already employed different strategies, whether using technologies or strategies. In terms of technologies, many from my respondents that time last year use Google Classroom, because probably it is integrated with the schools. Many use Zoom. Many also use Telegram and WhatsApp. But they are learning technologies. In terms of strategies, for example, some of them probably use discussion. Some of them use project-based. Some of them use small group discussion, and so on and so on. So the idea is that you know about this already. You use many platforms and apps like Google Forms, VoiceThread, Koggle for mind mapping, and MindMeister for mind mapping, Edpuzzle for having interactive video, and then other things like WhatsApp, Telegram, and also YouTube. You learn from this, or you stream from YouTube. Some of you use Flipgrid. Some of you use talk and comment, like what I always use, by having an add-on from Chrome. Yeah, so I can give mode into your Google Classroom. This is also for voice feedback. Some of you use Vocaru, for example, a separated platform for voice feedback. Some of you employ quizzes like Socrative for teacher and students. Some of you probably use this kind of Arisan game, Wheel of Names. Whenever you use Arisan or Wheel of Names can be very useful. you can call for their names every now and then. For example, every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes, so they can, get back to your class. They can be engaged more to your class. Yeah, right. In terms of assessment, what do we have now? Many implemented projects. Some of you probably implemented portfolio last year or last semester, like what I did last semester. I used Padlet, for example. I put everything online, meaning that I save their artifacts, their learning artifacts. Yeah, their learning one example of portfolio. Right? Some of you probably use performance assessment, like what I did here. I asked them to record their presentation using Screencast-O-Matic, for example, or Screencastify.
Hello, good morning. On today's presentation, I'm going to talk about.
And also another one. Yeah. Sometimes they come up with different technologies. I gave them alternatives to record, for example. Some of them can come up with different technologies. For example, this man here come up with Mobizen, something that I don't know before. So as a teacher, you can also co-learn with your students. Another thing that you do or you did last semester, or you are doing now, or you plan to do now, is project assessment. Many of us use this one. Like last semester, I used this one for creating a storybook project with my students. With activities like what Pak Jati mentioned just now, by chunking and having a good flow of blended learning or virtual class. Let me ask you again about what do we have now. So the previous section that I showed to you is actually some plus things or good things. Now let's have a look to what do we have now again, question again, by rechecking what we are having at the moment. Apart from the success, let's say like that, people also have challenges. Pak Jati already talked a lot about the RT challenges. Let me add some more now. They know quiz, for example, they know quizzes platform, but they don't know how to create items there. They don't know how to use it every now and then. For example, a teacher created a quiz, whatever platform they use. So remember, technology is only the tool. It will only help you the right way when you understand the pedagogy well. All right, so they know quizzes, one of the platforms, but they don't know how to create items, or they don't know when to give the quiz. A teacher probably just give it without proper instruction. Later, I'll show you things like this in my previous class. Signal is also is always a problem, and as Pak Jati said, you don't go or push things that you cannot do. So WhatsApp is a good thing, but the question is that how do you employ WhatsApp in your situation? If WhatsApp cannot go, if technology cannot go, you can use paper and pen. Why not? Using folder system. Yeah. So the idea is that how you utilize technology well, right? Now, this is a very important question that I asked last time. In your class, have you ever mentioned that you just newly learned these technologies? And what is interesting is that most of the respondents said no, not doing that. And this is interesting in a way, because this is important. You are okay, or it is okay to tell that you are learning also. It is okay to say that you don't know about things. This is called humanizing online learning. There are three big concepts of humanizing online learning. The first one is called presence. That is, for example, making an introductory video. You are present to your students. Second one is called empathy. And the third one is called awareness. So by saying that you just learn, you are trying to empathize and making your students aware that the teacher is having, let's say, challenges. So you learn together. Who knows that the students know better? So this is important. Right. Another situation that we have now is what about assessment. I saw in chat system just now, one of the challenges is assessment. And I think, and I believe it's still happening until now. For example, you have like 300 students like what I have now. How do you assess all of them? Will you, give a project and then correct their work one by one every week? You will die, right? So there are so many issues also only in assessment. Yeah, I just finished my talk in Unpati also with Ibu Renata, I think just now from Unpati, twice, yeah, this December and October. So I talked specifically about assessment. Now, this is one example of assessment problem. This happened in my PPL class. So I supervise practice teaching class, and then they invited me to a WhatsApp group, and then this comes from the teacher from that class, right? So the teacher sent this picture. Have a look to the picture, quality. And then with this kind of instruction. Selamat pagi, saya mau ngambil kelas, look at the spelling, ulangan harian, tolong jawab, blah, blah, blah. It's just like a gun, automatic gun, without comma, without full stop, and so on. And normally ended with nge. Nge in Balinese is like in Japanese, trying to formalize things. Yeah. So when this happened in 9 a.m. in the morning, right? 9 a.m. in the morning. If you look at this kind of instruction and picture, what will you do, Ibu Bapak? Do you think that this is clear? Yeah, and this is what happened the next. At 9 a.m., the teacher gave this one until 1 a.m. or 1 p.m., sorry. The teacher asked back, why there are no response? And then the students started to respond. So can you imagine that this kind of situation happened? This probably happened in your class too. Yeah. And then the next is like this, kirim di mana ma'am ulangannya. So this kind of question showed that the instruction above is not clear. Yeah. And then the next in 7 p.m. So this is happening like all day. Yeah. You are teaching 24 hours now. Yeah, not only into that hours only. Yang belum nomor 3 1927. And then directly one of the students, sabar ma'am, lagi sedikit saja kok with this kind of language. Okay, and so on and so on. And then look at the names also of your students that listens, for example. So this kind of things happening. Yeah, I also have a lot like this. And then check chat pribadi, miss. So the student asks you to check your personal chat. Yeah, this kind of situation happen, and this is only in terms of assessment majorly, but also reflecting the way the teacher is teaching, right? So apart from the good things, you also have challenges today. Yeah. So what happens and what we have now reflect a lot of things, Ibu Bapak. One of the big concepts is called readiness. If you want to read about technology readiness, you may want to go to Chapnik. There is a readiness model called Chapnik model having 8 dimensions. Jadi ada model kesiapan teknologis menggunakan beberapa model ya. Salah satunya ada dari Chapnik, itu menggunakan 8 dimensi. One of them is also from Aydin and Tasci, dia menggunakan 4 dimensi. Another one is from Hung et al, dia menggunakan 5 dimensi. So readiness can be a problem, meaning that probably the students and the teachers and probably the parents are not ready. Learning. Another related term with this is called acceptance. Mungkin dia tidak mau menerima sebuah teknologi baru, sebuah perubahan, change. Now, if you want to read about this, you can read the original work from Davis about technology acceptance model, or the modification from Venkantes, TAM 2 dan TAM 3, and also UT model 1 dan 2. Yeah, there are also different models here. There is probably an issue or something interesting to look from self-efficacy. Apa artinya self-efficacy? Self-efficacy artinya seberapa yakin kita bagus melakukan sesuatu. Yeah, this can be an issue too, with the examples that I gave just now. There is also a key concept or problem from the humanizing online learning perspective. Sometimes you don't humanize. You just gave projects and assignments to your students, right? Bapak Ibu mungkin lupa memanusiakan pembelajaran daringnya. Bahwa tadi Pak Jati bilang ada yang harus bantu ibunya jualan di warung. Bahwa Bapak Ibu kadang harus menghubungi personal satu demi satu mahasiswa kita atau murid kita yang memiliki tantangan atau masalah. Ya. Dan itu sering saya lakukan. Ya. Menariknya kadang-kadang mahasiswa tidak mau jawab meskipun sudah dijawab. Yeah, so this is also another situation. Another concept or issue that can come from also community of inquiry or learning perspective. Ini mirip ya, COI dengan COL. You can read more from Garrison and Sin. So whether your teaching is present, your lesson is present, and so on. So this is quite relevant. COI and humanizing online learning. From the teachers, students, and parents, last week I attended a sharing session from teachers, and then what comes up to them from the teachers' perspective, they are fed up already. Saya sudah bosan, saya sudah coba semua aplikasi, saya sudah coba semua strategi, saya sudah pada titik jenuh. Mungkin Bapak Ibu juga begitu sekarang ya, udah males ngajar gitu ya, tapi karena harus ya mengajar gitu ya. So your students get bored also. Masih ada digital divide, economic divide, ada gap ya. Economic divide, tidak semua orang punya gadgets for example. Digital divide, tidak semua orang sama level keterampilan menggunakan teknologinya dan seterusnya. Dan sama, we feel distant. Like today, I am in Bali, you are in different places in Indonesia. We can somehow feel distant, Ibu Bapak. So engaging your students, engaging your participant is very important. Ya, misalnya dengan wheel of names tadi, misalnya dengan pertanyaan-pertanyaan, misalnya dengan mengajak berpraktek seperti Pak Jati tadi dan seterusnya. So this picture seems to be familiar to you, right? Ya, gurunya sudah semangat, muridnya begini di rumah, atau anak-anak kita sendiri begini. So a lot of things happening, Ibu Bapak. This is what is happening now, still now, ya. Nah, karena ini juga sudah dari pagi, apakah ada Bapak Ibu yang sudah ada di gambar 20 menit sekarang? Ya, matikan kamera, kemudian tiduran gitu ya. Gitu ya, mungkin. Ya, atau masih di 2 menit. Nah, ini keren ini. Masih di 2 menit gitu ya. Dan seterusnya. Oke. Okay? Nah, so thank you Ibu Yuni. No sir. So I already asked you to reflect back by asking question, what happened so far? And also I asked you to reflect, what do we have now? Now, having those, now I will ask you to go to the future direction by asking what to do next. I propose something new, not really new actually, but the virtual term is new, concurrent classroom. The newer term is concurrent virtual classroom. So, CVC. There is not so many literature about this, but this is interesting. There are other terms that I will later tell you. Yeah. So what is concurrent virtual classroom? The original one is concurrent classroom, meaning that you are teaching the students at the same time, online and in person in the classroom. Yeah. So you have your students, but then you teach them like using Zoom, and also if you have face-to-face, that is the original concept, then you also have to teach them in the classroom at the same time. The earliest literature work that I find on this one is from Liu, 2017. But having pandemic, now there is a new term called concurrent virtual classroom. Some of you, I hear voice here. Can you turn off this? Yeah. Some of you probably heard virtual flipped classroom. That is a modification from flipped classroom or flipped learning. Actually, flipped learning and flipped classroom are different. Yeah, but people think they are the same. But I'm going to talk about a bigger concept, an umbrella concept called concurrent virtual classroom, where you teach your students virtually and in person in the online context, where you as the teacher are expected to effectively manage several groups of students across different spaces at the same time, while you are trying to meet their varying or various learners' needs. Okay? Other terms related to concurrent virtual classroom are called HyFlex or BlendFlex. HyFlex stands for hybrid flexibility. Yeah, BlendFlex is the same, blended flexibility. Please read more from these Western works. Right. Now, how you do concurrent virtual classroom? I will give you 3 model of examples. Yeah, example models. Model 1, it's called station rotation or jigsaw model. This probably come across to what Pak Jati already mentioned, and then I try to sum up what he already shared just now. So in station rotation model, the original one is that where you ask your students to go to different activities in different spaces. But now in virtual classroom, in pandemic situation, you ask your students to go to series of stations or learning activities, and students rotate through them. Yeah, so the students will not physically move, but they will move virtually through different activities, like Pak Jati has just now. Yeah, a normal station rotation model is like this. First, the teacher will lead the station, will lead the learning process by having, for example, explanation, by having them to do something at home and then ask for their feedback, or give them a survey or a quiz at the beginning, and so on and so on. And then the teacher can ask the students to go to online station, for example, to different platforms like to learning apps, and then to Padlet, and then to WhatsApp, or giving these platforms at the same time, and they can choose. Or you can have different activities and then assign different groups to go to different activities and then rotate. Ya, misalnya ada 3 grup, satu grup akan bekerja di WhatsApp, mengerjakan A, satu grup akan mengerjakan di Padlet, mengerjakan B, satu grup lagi mengerjakan di misalnya Edpuzzle, mengerjakan C. Mereka fokus pada tugasnya masing-masing. And then the next, after a particular period of time, you ask them to rotate. Jadi grup A akan ke grup B, mengerjakan tugas yang di grup B, mereview tugas yang di grup B, atau mengerjakan saja pertanyaannya, and so on and so on, and so on. And then at the end, you rotate once again to go for feedback session, where you ask the groups to give feedback to all the series of activities in different platforms. Kira-kira begitu, ya. This is one of the example. So I give you an example for model number 1. With my students, I started with Edpuzzle, for example. You can watch the video later on here. So in Edpuzzle, for example, you try to share something like this. So in Edpuzzle, you created a video or you use a video from someone else's, like the question just now. So, and then ask them to watch and also answer questions. Yeah. I hope you can.
It's written by
listen to this.
Lori McTiernan, illustrated by Yuka Katawaka.
Pasir, can you listen?
Eddie watched the
Yes,
clock
clear.
tick-tock in the den. He was getting a pet. The question was, when?
So with Edpuzzle, I can stop the minute in a particular time and then ask questions. This is a simple activity. How to create Edpuzzle? You can go to YouTube to go for tutorial, Ibu Bapak. Jadi gampang, tidak sulit. So the thing is that you can ask the students to familiarize themselves with the topic first. Yeah. So the students can answer, for example, this, and then submit, and then Edpuzzle will directly give the answer, the response, and my answer is wrong. And then continue, and then go to the next information.
With a box and a towel, he set up a bed. My pet will sleep here, the happy boy said. He waited and waited. A cell phone rang out. Is it time? Did they come? Eddie asked with a shout.
Okay. When you see the, let me put on this one first, and then it is right. Now you can continue later on. This is only example. So with Edpuzzle, I can set up different questions. If you see red here, meaning that my answer is wrong. If you see green, then my answer as a student is correct. I can set up as many questions as you want, ranging from multiple choice, true and false, and short description. You can also turn on the CC if it is available in YouTube. So this is very important for your, let's say, beginner level students. Yeah. For example, I turn on the CC and then it will give you the CC, the closed caption. Yeah. So this is one example. You can later open this one and try yourself. I already give the link there. And then after I give the students to familiarize themselves with watching the video and answering the question, I then continue my activity into discussion. Yeah, remember this is an example for model number 1, station rotation model. After watching, I can ask the students some triggering questions. Jadi saya bisa menanyakan mereka beberapa pertanyaan pancingan, gitu ya. Misalnya, do you have a pet? How about if they don't have a pet? Then you can ask your students to pretend to have a pet. You can ask the students to describe the pet briefly, for example, the name, the food, the color, and so on and so on. After that, you can ask the students to exchange their works. If you can use technologies like Padlet, yeah, or higher bandwidth like Zoom, you can use it as well. If not, you can use WhatsApp by exchanging the description or the photo in WhatsApp, or you can submit papers using folders, yeah, and then do this every week, for example. And then after the students exchange their works, you can ask the students to choose one pet from their friends. And then you can ask them to write the pet from their friend's description. So this is a simple flow, actually. Of course, you can add more activities within the big activities. How to write it? For example, you can use pen and paper. You can use WhatsApp. You can use Padlet. You can use blog, or you can use artificial intelligence story generator like Masterpiece. You can also ask several students to do different projects. For example, one group created story, one group created comic, one group created poster, another group created video. This way, you try to differentiate your learning in terms of assessment. Why you need to differentiate? Because you handle varieties in your class. Ya, kenapa harus melakukan diferensiasi pada kelas, Ibu Bapak dan teman-teman? Karena ingat, dalam satu kelas itu ada keberagaman. There are very advanced students, there are also so-so students, ada yang menengah, ada juga yang slow learners. So you have to deal with varieties and differentiations. And then after that, the next activity, after the story was done, you can ask to check the drafts first or directly send the story to you as the lecturer, and then you can display. Yeah, if you don't want to have revision stages anymore. Where to display? You can go for Instagram, you can go for blog, for example, and other familiar platforms from your students. So this is a simple flow for rotation station. This is similar to what Pak Jati said actually, with a different topic that is about PET now, descriptive text. Yeah. After that, to check their understanding, because you need to test them or to assess them at the end whether they understand about the topic, you can go to quizzes or formative ones like this. You can use Kahoot or Quizlet Live or quizzes and so on and so on. Yeah, or you can also have different activities like this. If it is for young learners, this is taken from my book. You can ask the students to do a tracing activity from the mother elephant or from the baby elephant to mother elephant. Yeah, this activity can be found in my book here. This is for young learners, and other activities for secondary levels can be found in my other book here. Right, so to conclude, the first model in concurrent virtual classroom is using rotation station or jigsaw, whatever you call it. Right. Now, what are the benefits for having station rotation? When you conduct rotation station here as a model, you can focus on smaller learning communities. Yeah? Meaning that you can try to employ student-centered learning here. You can also try to encourage your students to be more autonomous. You can also encourage your students to collaborate with your other students, with their friends. You can also spend time directly to small students. Sometimes some groups need help, some groups can go by themselves. Especially in online situation, you can always help those who are in need. Yeah? You can differentiate learning, as I said just now, in terms of instruction, by scaffolding the lessons, by chunking or by putting into stages, by different practices, and by different assignments and projects. And this is important, Ibu Bapak, karena anak-anak kita itu hampir sepanjang hari online, meaning that they can be in front of the computer all the time. You can balance online and offline work by giving them break from the screen. Ya, ini penting, ya, having a break from the screen, karena lelah nanti. Ya, this is related to cognitive load, beban kognitif, Ibu Bapak. So you don't force your students by having different activities and also projects, and then making them, sick or unmotivated by the end of the day. Now, here are some tips for doing station rotation. You can rotate them, but remember, have a fixed schedule. For example, every week you go to another activity or station, let's say like that. This is to employ commitment. Yeah, if you are talking about 6 C's, character and commitment, you can also employ it as a soft skill to your students, meaning they can be disciplined. Yeah. How about if they have problems? You can humanize your online learning. Always, you can ask them personally, or you can ask their friends to help. Yeah. And then remember to have may-do activities, meaning that you always give opportunities for those who are already able to finish quicker. Yeah. Remember to record the instruction every time, because some students probably cannot attend, some students lose their concentration, and they need to go back every now and then. Yeah, and don't forget to create a clear pathway or stages for your online learning activities, because your students really need it. Ya, and prepare. Ya, jangan tiba-tiba kita akan melakukan ABCD tanpa persiapan Ibu Bapak. One of the example of pathway is like this. For my ICT for ELT class, for example, I created different steps. Yeah, with different information and instruction. So they can go back every now and then. Yeah, this is similar to what Pak Jati said just now with the chunk. Yeah. Right, that is for model number 1 called station rotation or jigsaw model in concurrent virtual classroom. Now, the model number 2 deals with flipped classroom, but because we are in pandemic, we are now having virtual flipped classroom. Many of us know already about this, that flipped classroom meaning that you try to invert atau membalikkan, ya, to flip your class. The normal flipped classroom deals with you ask your students to prepare to read, to watch videos, for example, at home, and then do some homeworks or questions at home, and then do discussion in the classroom, if it is normal, and then continue with online activities. But during pandemic, everything is done virtually, meaning that you will ask your students to prepare themselves, whether it is reading text, watching videos, asking and answering to questions online, yeah, at home. And then continue with discussion also virtually, and then continue with discussion and project and assessment or assignment also online. So this is called virtual flipped classroom. The basic idea for virtual flipped classroom is called flip and engage model, yeah, where you will have pre-video activity by having, for example, Google Classroom or Flipgrid or YouTube at the beginning. The purpose is to get their interest, to drive their curiosity, and then to know their prior knowledge and to ask them to respond to guided questions. And then the main activity will be flipping and engaging, meaning that you try to discuss the material and topic by using Padlet, for example, or Edpuzzle or other relevant platforms. Remember, technologies are the tools only, but don't forget this one, the flows. Yeah. And last, you can have post-video activity where you try to check understanding at the end of the class or topic. You can ask questions by using quizzes, or you can ask your students to create a poster or a multiple choice test or a gamified platform, for example, using Genially or other platforms, right? I'm giving you now an example of model number 2. So with my students, sometimes I also employ virtual flipped classroom model, where in pre-activity, I ask them to watch a video and then take important notes on the video. I will give them some guided questions like what happened in the video, who involved in the video, what they say, where is the setting, and the last one is very important because it is an open-ended. The previous 4 is close-ended, meaning that the answer is there. But in the last question, the answer can be open. And this deals with providing rooms and opportunities for students to be more creative with their answers. The video is like this.
And now we have this.
I normally share this one also in some of my presentations. So the idea of this video is that is about coronavirus waste, which happening now. Yeah, you throw your mask and then it will go to the ocean. What happens to the marine environment now? So you try to trigger their curiosity. you try to provide them with guided questions and then ask them to respond to the questions before the online activity in discussion environment, in Zoom, for example. After that, in Flip and Engage, I will ask them to create different groups. I learned this model from Pak Jati, my teacher. So you can assign different groups by having, for example, these groups, depending on your topic, and then you can use breakout rooms. Or if you want to do it before the Flip and Engage activity, you can assign different groups before the Flip and Engage activity or discussion, and then divide the groups directly. And then in Flip and Engage activity in the online learning classroom, you can still continue the discussion with the same group. Yeah. And then you can also ask them to express their understanding from different groups' perspective in platforms like Padlet. Yeah, or if you want to use Jamboard or other platform relevant ones, it is okay. So remember that technology is only a tool to help you. Yeah, so government group will express their understanding here, health experts will express their understanding here, and so on and so on. Don't forget to give example or instruction on the left in Padlet, for example. Why? Because your students need to, go back and forth every now and then. Sometimes they forget because they have so many activities and projects. Sometimes they did not attend your class, and so on and so on. Okay, and then in Flip and Engage, you can use Zoom like today, where I can break out rooms. Yeah, breakout rooms in Zoom is already advancing now. Yeah, where you can assign manually compared to the one in March, for example. Yeah, you can also use special.io. You can use also Remo, yeah, or Team Video, or Mixaba, and many others. The idea is to help you to split your students in one class into different smaller groups, if it is online and if your bandwidth is okay to do that. If not, you can use a lesser requiring bandwidth platform like WhatsApp or Discord. Yeah, right. And then after that, you can ask the students to do a crowd curation activity, meaning that they try to get more information other than the video only. After they watch the video, then they go to other resources. For example, Google search, books, articles, interview, and so on about many relevant things about the topic. For example, about this question or topic, about Indonesia's situation at the moment about corona waste, about what happens today. You know that vaccine arrived today and President Jokowi will be taking the vaccine today. How to be healthy and active, and so on and so on. Okay, you can use different platforms. For example, Evernote, Mix, or Wakelet. Yeah, these are active links. You can later open my links and then see the platforms that I already employ with my students. After asking them to do a crowd curation, you can ask them to go back to the Padlet that they already have before and then add some more information. If you cannot use Padlet, you can use WhatsApp, Telegram, or Discord, the one that I mentioned just now. For the students, Discord can be very familiar to you, right? Ini sangat ngetop untuk anak-anak yang suka main game ya. Discord ini bisa membuat grup-grup kecil di dalam satu grup besar. Itu bedanya. Kalau WhatsApp nggak bisa. Nah sekarang WhatsApp banyak yang pindah karena dia meminta data privasi yang lebih rigid kepada penggunanya. Ada yang pindah ke Telegram, ada yang pindah ke Signal. Ya, silakan dicoba. Ya. And then basically you can also again do model number 1 where you can have a jigsaw activity asking government group to go to health experts, to go to citizen group, to go to business group, and so on and so on. Jadi sebenarnya model nomor 1 bisa juga diimplementasikan di model nomor 2. Okay? And then for post activity, you can ask students to do a project, for example, depending on the objective of the lesson and also the level of the students. For example, I ask my students to create a poster. Yeah, any posters will do. For example, the one on the left or the one on the right. They can go with these different types of results and products depending on their understanding. Don't forget, as a teacher, you also share some platforms to create the projects. For example, if I ask them to create poster, I will ask them, or I will share with them some possible platforms. They can also go with their own. Yeah, like the one that I showed just now, I can also learn from my students. Yeah, because of my age now, umur, jadi umur sudah bertambah ya, juga pasti akan berbeda dengan anak-anak kita yang jauh lebih cepat dalam penggunaan teknologi. Ya. Don't forget to share the assessment criteria, Ibu Bapak. Jadi Bapak Ibu harus transparan sejak awal. So you know what to do, your students know what are being assessed from them from the beginning. Ya, assessment in terms of rubric, for example, karena tugasnya project tadi, assessment-nya adalah rubrik di sini. Ya. Nah, so to conclude with model number 2, in traditional classroom flipped learning model, basically you learn at home. First, you prepare yourself at home, and then you continue the discussion in the classroom. In the original flipped classroom, you learn yourself at home, and then you have interactive activities in the classroom. But now in the pandemic era, you have virtual flipped classroom where you learn everything online, and then you do the discussion and activities virtually also at the same time. Okay. Now, model number 3 in concurrent virtual classroom is called playlist model, or another term is called individual station rotation. In playlist model, basically, you give a bigger opportunity and room for your students to learn by themselves. So this is like a self-paced learning. Yeah, for example, using massive open online course or e-learning model. Yeah, where your students can learn and jump into different topics. Jadi kalau nanti muridnya merasa sudah cukup dengan topik nomor 1, mereka bisa lanjut ke topik nomor 2 sendiri. Atau mereka merasa belum cukup paham dengan topik nomor 5, ketika pembelajaran sudah topik nomor 7, mereka bisa tetap balik ke topik nomor 5. So this is called playlist model. Yeah, so there is a self-paced, and then you as a teacher can create a playlist or something like a song. Kalau Bapak Ibu dan anak-anak, adik-adik punya Spotify misalnya, kan pasti punya playlist ya, lagu-lagu yang disukai begitu ya. Nah, teachers can also do that one. Yeah, but this time you create something based on different situations of your students. If you want to go further, jadi kalau guru nanti ingin lebih lagi bekerjanya, you can also think of differentiation, Ibu Bapak. Jadi playlistnya bisa beberapa. Jadi topiknya 1, tetapi aktivitas dan projectnya dan preparationnya bisa beberapa playlist. Jadi anak yang suka misalnya playlistnya, katakanlah mendengarkan lagu, bisa memilih playlist yang ada lagunya dengan beberapa aktivitas lanjutan. Anak-anak yang suka menonton video dari YouTube akan memilih playlist dari YouTube-nya dengan beberapa aktivitas. Anak-anak yang misalnya ingin proyeknya melakukan atau membuat komik, mereka akan memilih playlist yang tersebut. So the idea is giving more opportunities for individuals to learn. So basically in playlist model, it provides different types of media and learning modalities. Kalau Bapak Ibu pernah baca tulisan dari Gunter Kress tentang multimodalities, di sana Bapak Ibu akan tahu bahwa modal atau modes atau cara untuk belajar itu ada beberapa, bisa multi, ya bisa multi, bisa pakai gambar, bisa pakai video, visual, bisa pakai audio, dan seterusnya. Tujuannya apa? Engagement of the students, understanding of the students of the topic, and also providing abilities for them to employ their understanding, to practice their understanding in different case or context. Contoh dari model 3 seperti ini. So, for example, the topic is about space atau Mars misalnya ya. And then I ask them to watch a video. And then I also provide another one, for example, a TED Talk, yeah, an audio model for watching about Curiosity rovers in Mars. Yeah. And then I also provide other things. For example, I only give them guided questions without asking them to watch videos. Yeah. So there are three different models here. All right. And then, for example, in one of the playlists, I ask them to go to this link with Access with Mars with Google, and then learning about Curiosity rover. If you click this link later on, you will be able to look Curiosity from the 360 degrees point of view. Yeah, and click on several dot points. For example, I click this one from the camera, the head, yeah, and then it will provide you different information coming up. Or if I want to ask you to do another activity, for example, watching from YouTube, I give you this link from YouTube, and then students, some groups of the students can go to this link and then watch how Curiosity rover explore Mars. Or another playlist, for example, I ask them to go to 360degrees.net, 360.net, and then go to this link, and then you can use VR model, whether using glass or not, and then try to explore Mars virtually and more realistically. Yeah. So these are some ideas. You can also have other things, for example, only text, only questions, or audio only, and so on with the playlist. And then I can check their prior understanding by giving them quiz, for example, or a polling using Mentimeter, or Answer Garden, or Polls Everywhere, and so on and so on. Okay, and then with different types of students, I can go to ThinkLink, for example, giving a different activity model here. So you can see here A, B, C, D. Here I give different activities and different instruction and information. So you can assign, or the student can freely click on different links here or dot points. For example, some group will choose this playlist, or A playlist, or B playlist, or C playlist, or D playlist. In each playlist, they will have different activities, information, and assessment. Yeah, but still talking about the same topic. This could be hard for a teacher teaching a lot of students, but this is one model that you can try. All right. The next activity you can ask, for example, a question like this. After learning about Mars and Curiosity and space, and then you can ask this question. If I'm Elon, some of you probably don't know Elon. Elon is for Elon Musk, yeah, our Iron Man today, the richest man in the world this week, ya, starting from this week. Ya, jadi dia orang terkaya di dunia sekarang. Baru minggu lalu menyalip Google dan semuanya. Ya, Jack Ma juga kalah. Okay, and then you can ask them to create different activities. This is actually similar to differentiation. Ya, jadi Bapak Ibu bisa menyuruh mereka melakukan interview. Misalnya, coba saja hubungi Elon Musk. Dia sangat aktif di Twitter. Ya, coba dia mention dia akan balas biasanya kalau menarik. You can do an interview with him or other people related to Elon Musk or space or Curiosity rovers. You can ask the student to create podcast. Podcast is very famous today using Anchor, for example, dan seterusnya. Meskipun podcast ini sudah lumayan dulu startnya, ya. You can ask the students to create a vlog, role play, depending on the objective, the level of the students, and also your classroom situation. Okay. You can ask the students to create news report, for example, by having screencasting project, where your students can record themselves and then present something. Okay, so you can also ask them to create infographics using, for example, the journey of Curiosity rovers from Earth to Mars today, yeah, by using Genially. So different activities, different projects for different group of students, yeah. And to check whether your students are doing this and that in different stages and activities, you can give this table, for example, by listing or giving them a list of different activities, instructions, and links. For example, video links of instructions here, and then notes, and then dates of completion. As simple as this. Okay. So the idea of concurrent virtual classroom is actually not new, Ibu Bapak. Ini tidak baru, ya. Ini sudah ada dan Bapak Ibu mungkin melakukannya. Tetapi mungkin perlu Bapak Ibu melihat kembali, merefleksikan kembali, dan kemudian merapikan kembali. Mungkin ada yang masih belum tertata atau flow-nya belum mulus begitu ya, belum lancar dan seterusnya. I believe that you already know a lot about what happens today, Ibu Bapak, and I don't plan to teach you or preach you about things to do, but you know how things are happening now, and we are dealing with a lot of things today, yeah, both students and teachers, and concurrent virtual classroom can be one of the big concepts or model that you can employ with your teaching and learning process today. So don't forget that when you deal with a pandemic situation, you try to learn about the materials first, that is about content. You try to design different activities with your students, whether it is small group, think, pair, share, or classroom based, or mind mapping, or rotation station. This is called, you employ the pedagogy concept or strategy with relevant and available technologies, meaning that you employ relevant technologies here. So don't forget about this framework or concept when you employ concurrent virtual classroom model. Yeah. So to conclude, don't forget about a clear flow of teaching and learning process by focusing not on the technologies, but a balanced or critical approach between technologies as tools and also pedagogy as strategies. Ya, tadi ada banyak pertanyaan dan banyak sekali ada pertanyaan. Kalau ngajar listening pakai apps apa? It is good, but if I can suggest, do not go with technologies only. Ya, Ibu Bapak. You can try to understand what is the objective of your lesson or topic, and then you start thinking of activities and relevant tools and technologies. Okay, so stop thinking what technologies and how many, and start thinking how they are used in my class. Yeah, while not forgetting to humanize your online learning. Remember to check your students' situation every now and then. Kadang-kadang harus japri mereka, kadang-kadang harus telepon mereka, meskipun mereka tidak menjawab gitu kadang-kadang, tapi you need to humanize your learning, Bapak Ibu. Ya, to wrap up Ibu Bapak, don't forget that we have new paradigm now. Apakah itu yang namanya student-centered learning, 21st century learning, kurikulum merdeka, dan seterusnya, dan situasi yang disebut dengan virtual concurrent classroom atau high flex situations. Ya, what you need to do here is that Bapak Ibu harus memiliki pemahaman yang kaya dan cukup atau komprehensif mengenai innovative pedagogies, digital pedagogies, dan learning technologies. Ya, dengan cara Bapak Ibu tahu apa yang harus disiapkan, apa yang harus dilakukan, apa yang harus dites atau diukur dari siswa, dan bagaimana merefleksi pembelajaran. Sometimes you already design something very perfect or good. It works very well in class A, but it didn't work in class B. That means that you need to reflect, because again, there is a differentiation in every class, in every student. Whenever things like this happen, you can probably read the work from Kumara Divelu called Post-Method Pedagogy. Meskipun ada banyak kritik, intinya adalah itu eclectic. Artinya adalah Bapak Ibu bisa menggabungkan beberapa metode, tools, dan aplikasi yang relevan pada situasi tertentu. Itu artinya post-method. Ya, misalnya pakai audiolingual method dengan communicative teaching method. Ya, kalau baca misalnya bukunya Diane Larson Freeman. Nah, you have to remember the topic and then start looking at the objective and then start thinking of the media and technology seperti Pak Jati bilang tadi, apakah mau pakai learning apps. Learning apps juga ada banyak, mau pakai misalnya matching, mau pakai short response, mau pakai ABCD, mau pakai menyapa dan seterusnya. And then think about materials. Materials and media are different, Bapak Ibu. Ya, media itu hanya alatnya, materials alat dengan aktivitasnya. Ya, and then don't forget about assessment. And also when you deal with concurrent virtual classroom, don't forget your learning environment and dimension. Remember your learning environment and dimensions. Ya, misalnya beberapa konsep besar yang Bapak Ibu pikirkan dalam konteks pembelajaran online adalah engagement, differentiation, effective integration, learner autonomy, feedback and assessment, higher order thinking skills, character, participations and engagement from many different parties, and community of inquiry. Bapak Ibu bisa membaca di tautan yang saya kasih ini. Ya, one last concluding remarks, Ibu Bapak, seperti Pak Jati tadi sampaikan. Do not get confused with so many apps and tools and platforms. Do not also get confused with many sophisticated terms. Jadi jangan mungkin juga bingung atau malah merasa ini terlalu banyak ada istilah-istilah yang terlalu asing begitu yang saya kenalkan sekarang. No, I didn't mean that one, Bapak Ibu. Saya tidak bermaksud begitu, tetapi saya mencoba mengenal konsep-konsep penting yang akan Bapak Ibu hadapi dan alami dalam konteks pembelajaran online di situasi pandemi. Kuncinya adalah use things that work best for you. Okay. Ya, jadi nanti jangan menggunakan terlalu banyak aplikasi, tapi gunakan satu atau dua saja yang bagus di kelas Bapak Ibu.
Pak Heri, sorry to interrupt. You still have 2 minutes left.
Sure. This is the last, Ibu Asih.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you want to read more, Ibu Bapak, these are the references. Okay. And if you want to download my presentation, you can go to bit.ly/unpak-mhs. Thank you very much. I hear my voice at the end, so I think it's the connection. Thank you very much. That is all that I can share, Ibu Bapak, and I return this to Ibu Asih.
Okay, thank you Pak Heri. Ini seperti saya kuliah ICT Technology Instruction in Education for 1 semester. Thank you. Learn much from this. Okay, Bapak dan Ibu, now we come to question and answer session. Pak Heri, are you going to read the question by yourself, or do I need to read it for you?
Yes, I can do that, Bu Asih, no problem. I think I just go back to the main screen now, and then I see one question from Mbak Indah. Thank you very much for spending our class. I hear my voice.
Okay. I will read it for you. Pak Heri, you happen You just mentioned that flipped learning and flipped classroom are different. Can you elaborate more?
Sure.
This difference? Are you going to?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. You can answer it immediately.
Yeah. Thank you. It seems that the
Pak Heri?
connection is not clear. I can hear
Can
my
you?
voice bouncing back.
Yeah, Bu Asi, I think you need to mute your audio first,
Okay.
so there won't be feedback to Pak Made. I have the same problem, Pak Heri.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I think it's better.
How about now?
What is the bar from my connection? Is it red or yellow or white? Cannot see it. Yeah. Okay. No problem. So yes, Mbak Winda, thank you very much for joining our session today. Yes. Many people think that flipped learning and flipped classroom are similar. In fact, they are different. I said about this also in some of my sessions last year. The idea is like this: flipped classroom focuses on the stages and the scaffolded activities within the classroom only and aimed at, I hear my voice, so it's not really good to hear.
It's not really
It is
comfortable,
bouncing
yeah,
back.
Pak. Yeah, bouncing back.
Yeah.
Let me help.
Test. Okay, I think it's better now. Yeah.
Okay.
Is it okay now?
Yeah, we can hear you clearly, but probably I have no idea whether you still hear your voice
It's better now,
bouncing back.
I think it's better now.
Okay, alhamdulillah.
Okay, I try my best, Butina and Mbak Winda. So let me repeat once again. So flipped classroom and flipped learning is treated similarly. In fact, they are different. The idea is like this. So in flipped classroom, you focus on the scaffolded activities to flip the activities and then help the students to learn. So the idea is just focus on the objective of the lesson. But in flipped learning, it deals with the pedagogical principle, Mbak Winda. So there are 4 pillars of flipped learning. If I can share you this one, yeah, I hope you can see it. So in flipped learning, you have to achieve or to have these 4 pillars. Yeah, first, flexible environment. Second, learning culture. And then intentional content and professional educator. Yeah, so this is more pedagogical and also philosophical. Yeah, and then flipped classroom is the way you implement flipped learning. Yeah, you can read a lot of articles about this, and also one of my writing in blog, and I put it in ITEL website also. Yeah, when I shared about this in Universitas Parahyangan in Bandung. Yeah. So let me repeat once again. In flipped learning, you are looking at the bigger concept where you try to change your students and the teachers into having flexible environment, learning culture, intentional content, and professional educator. In flipped classroom, these 4 pillars may not happen. It only focusing on the activities, probably in environment only. That's what I can respond to your question, Mbak Winda.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Bu Heri.
Oke, thank you Pak Heri. Oke, Bu Winda, semoga sudah bisa dipahami ya. Oke,
Yeah,
and the
sure.
next, okay, thank you. The next question coming from Ibu Rashida, Ibu Renata, sorry. Pak Made, any suggestion for our students to practice their pronunciation online? Thanks. Okay, Pak Heri.
Thank you, Mbak Asif. Thank you, Mbak. Meet again. Yeah, I'm happy to share with you in Unpati.
Aku baju kakak tuh tanggal percikan kali.
Yeah. So your question deals with strategies and probably with relevant technologies. If Pak Jati is still here, Pak Jati can also jump in. Pak, I'm not sure Pak Jati is still here or not. Right. So when you deal with pronunciation, you have to understand the nature of pronunciation. Pronunciation deals with phonology concept and also listening and speaking. So you have to understand the nature of pronunciation. And then when you want to ask them to practice, as simple as you can ask them a simple project, for example, and then just tell about the project by recording their voice or recording in terms of video. So you can also look at the lips and also the voice. Yeah, you can use a simple technologies like video record or audio record in your smartphone. But if not, you can also use other apps like Google Voice or Google Translate or Google basically. If you Google any words, it comes up with the way you pronounce it too, Ibu. If you install online dictionary, for example, Oxford and other things, it also comes with the pronunciation. So depends on your learning objective now. I always go back, respond the respondents' questions by reminding them to go back to the learning objective. So what is your learning objective? Is it students practicing only? Is it for students to acquire particular pronunciation skills or levels or words? So depending on that. So if you want, if the objective is only for students to practice, I think you can just ask them a simple question, but let's say triggering their curiosity. Yeah, for example, why people cannot live in Mars today? And then ask them to discuss with their friends or to record their responses first and then exchange them for further discussion. If you want them to practice particular words, I think you just can go to Google. For example, if you can go to Google, yeah, if I can show you now. Let me check. Yeah, like this. Let me share. So if I search for the word contemplation now, Google can directly give you the way to pronounce it, for example, like this.
Contemplation.
Yes, and then the way to pronounce it. Yeah. By looking at the lips. Yeah.
Contemplation.
You can make it slow.
Contemplation.
So lips in phonology is very important to you. There are also many videos in YouTube teaching how to pronounce particular words. So again, depending on the objective of your lesson. I think that's that I can respond to Ibu Renata. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pak Heri. Pak Heri, Bu Renata, hopefully you got the point. Okay, the next question from Ibu Rashida. Pak Made, avoid feeling of losing emotional touch with my students since this online lecturing. While I always believe that in teaching we have to have close relationship with our students in order to achieve maximum goals of teaching. If you do not mind to answer how to humanizing.
Yes.
Yes, Pak Heri, please.
Thank you, Ibu Asih and Ibu Rasida. you mean by emotional touch is personal?
No, relation.
Or
The feeling of relation
getting
with my student.
angry?
Yeah. Feeling close.
Make it clearer.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's back now.
Pamade, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Pamade, can you hear me? All right. The feeling of being what I mean by to my student, feeling of being touch to what I mean me and I need the this is okay.
Ibu. Thank you, Ibu, for the question. Maybe this is about was that the sense of belongings, Pamade. Since we know exactly that when we have a kind of in-person class, we can meet our student directly. But since we are here in the pandemic situation, so how to deal with this? When I listened to your explanation, actually I got the point of about humanizing. Maybe it deals with this, Pamade.
Yeah, thank you very much. So let me say you this one, Ibu Rasida and Mbak Asih. If I can get the point, because it's bouncing back in my side. I understand that emotional touch means that getting close to your students, not getting angry because of your students' behavior. So it is important to be also having, let's say, close relationship. But if I can tell, you have to be professional, Ibu Bapak. Meaning that no personal subjectivity in your class. Misalnya Bapak Ibu adalah itu tahu itu keponakan teman. Atau misalnya dia ganteng atau cantik gitu ya. Kalau sama saya kan itu kelemahannya. Yang ganteng maksudnya gitu ya. Itu terus atau hal-hal lain yang sifatnya personal. So you don't try to be subjective or biased, ya. Yeah. So to be personal in your class and with your students, there is a concept called humanizing online learning. Nah, ini yang sering kadang, mohon maaf, dilupakan oleh kita. Kadang guru memberi tugas terlalu banyak. Kadang tidak menanyakan kenapa si A kok tidak hadir di kelas online 3 kali berturut-turut. Kadang tidak tahu apa yang terjadi dengan siswa di rumah mereka masing-masing. Istilahnya di kubikel mereka masing-masing. So, when you teach in online learning, you have to humanize your class. How to humanize? Ada dari tulisannya Pak Kansibrok, ya, silakan dibaca. Dan ini erat hubungannya dengan comparison. Ya, so you have to be present. Ya, Bapak Ibu, tadi sudah saya kasih contoh. Misalnya di awal pertemuan kirim video yang akrab begitu ya, ramah dan akrab pada siswanya. Apalagi belum pernah ketemu dengan video yang menarik, dengan sapa mereka dengan ramah. Kalau suka melucu atau bisa melucu silakan. Kalau enggak, bisa tampilkan video lucu. Jadi Bapak Ibu selalu bisa, saya pikir sebagai guru ya. You have to be present. Apalagi contoh presence. Bapak Ibu misalnya melihat dalam pertemuan di tengah-tengah, ada satu anak tidak ngumpul tugas atau tidak hadir selama beberapa waktu. Ini berarti ada tanda, Ibu Bapak. Saya biasanya ada absensi secara weekly begitu ya. Kemudian saya perhatikan absen tersebut. Kalau ada yang perlu saya perdalam, saya akan menghubungi Korti biasanya atau Captain. Nah, kemarin di semester lalu misalnya ada yang dari Papua, anak-anak adik Papua itu juga ada masalah. Jadi atau ada yang dari Bali juga bermasalah ketika kerja kelompok. Artinya di wilayah yang sama. Nah, saya hubungi Captain, kemudian tanya, dan kemudian saya hubungi langsung orangnya. Saya tipenya biasanya profesional dengan WhatsApp. Tetapi karena pandemi, saya berpikir perlu memanusiakan pembelajaran ini dengan lebih dekat dengan siswa. Jadi saya buatkan WhatsApp group, saya langsung balas selama beberapa waktu karena murid kita mungkin takut segala macam. Ya. Tetapi saya pikir kemampuan Bapak Ibu di sanalah ditunjukkan bagaimana sebagai fasilitator, bukan sebagai tester, gitu ya, bukan sebagai seorang yang ingin menjudge mereka, ya, tapi merangkul mereka. You have to have empathy. Ya, misalnya mereka situasi yang berat, seperti di Bali, banyak orang tua murid sekarang kena PHK karena hotel, restoran, dan semua unsur pariwisata terdampak. Banyak mahasiswa saya yang ingin selesai kuliah, Ibu. Nah, jadi saya harus empati dengan mereka. Jadi saya biasanya berikan waktu yang lebih panjang. Atau misalnya saya berikan tugas yang sifatnya lebih ringan. Seperti itu. Awareness apa? Bapak Ibu ya sadar dengan situasi. Jangan asik ngajar, tapi ternyata muridnya tidur gitu misalnya. Seperti di gambar tadi. Atau seperti saya sekarang, karena online saya sibuk ngomong, ternyata tidak ada yang mendengar. Misalnya bisa pakai arisan tadi gitu ya. Ya seperti itu contohnya. Itu kira-kira yang bisa saya komentari, Ibu Rasida. Intinya adalah bagaimana tetap profesional, tapi juga tetap humanize. Jadi bukan subjektif, tetapi memanusiakan orang. Gitu ya. Terima kasih.
Okay, thank you. Hopefully you got the point, Bu Rashida.
Yes, exactly. The three pillars answering my questions. Yeah.
Okay, nice, great. Okay, great. Bapak dan Ibu, deeply sorry we have no time to to deliver question and answer. So let me go to the conclusion of this second session. Banyak Pak Made catatan yang saya pelajari di sini. We are talking about emergency remote teaching challenges in this pandemic. While conducting this kind of teaching in the situation, please consider about new paradigm, learning environment and dimensions, strategies employed during the teaching in the pandemic time, and of course, the assessment. So Bapak dan Ibu, finally, we come to the end of the presentation. We would like to thank for Pak Heri. Thank you so much for the informative and interesting talk. And to the webinar participants, for you, thank you for your energy and your active participation throughout the session. Hopefully, the presentation will be beneficial for everybody. Thank you. Good afternoon. And Ibu Tina, I return to the floor to you. Thank you, Pak Heri. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Pak Sih. Thank you, Ibu Bapak. All the best.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Pak Heri. Such insightful sharing. Again, I learned a lot from you. I found a lot of, more applications, more web tools. Well, I have to try them all. It's interesting. And Ibu Asi, thank you for being the moderator.
Yes.
Wait, I have the same problem as Pak Mades. Bouncing back. Okay, can you hear my voice clearly?
Yes, clearly.
Yes, okay.
Clearly.
All right. Okay, thank you very much. Is Pak Jati still here? I think he left already. Yes, I think he left already.
He left already.
Yes. Wait. All right, Bapak Ibu, before we end the session, as I told you at the beginning of the event, the committee will launch the exit ticket, but we are sorry to tell you that we are only going to launch the exit ticket here in the Zoom room, since well, Pak Heri and Ibu Bapak, actually there were about more than 400 participants registered for this event. Yeah, but unfortunately, as we can see here, probably it's less than 200, because the what's it? We have around 10 or probably 15 committees. Therefore, the participants probably are only less than 200. Therefore, we are sorry to say that we are only going to launch the exit ticket in the Zoom room, but later on we are going to check who attended in the YouTube channel, and we are going to send the exit ticket privately, probably. So the committee, let me check the chat. Have you launched the exit ticket, please? The committee. Hello? Yes. Ibu Isti?
Falahin probably can help us. Falahin, hello?
Yeah. Now the participants need a exit ticket so they can fill out the evaluation form, and they will get the certificates. When they finish filling the evaluation form, then they will get the certificates. Okay, thank you very much. So this is the exit ticket. So just click that, and then you will get the certificates. Okay. Thank you. Probably we need to wait for around 1 minute. Okay, hopefully that everybody has clicked this link. Okay, done. All right. Okay, I think everybody has done clicking the link, and now everybody, we have come to the end of our TEFL webinar, and I'm Tina Priyantin as the Master of Ceremony of this event. I would like to extend my gratitude to our wonderful presenters, Pak Jati and Pak Heri, for such valuable insights, and hopefully all that you have shared can be implemented in our distance learning, and hopefully that all teachers, I believe, not hopefully, but I believe that all teachers will get insights and ideas to be implemented later in the classes. Okay, all right, Bapak Ibu, if you have finished filling out the evaluation form, you may leave the room. And again, I'm on behalf of English Education Study Program of Faculty of Teachers Training and Educational Sciences of Universitas Pakuan. We would like to thank you again for attending our sessions, and hopefully that we can meet again at the next occasion. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Pak Made Heri.
Thank you, Pak Heri.
Thank you, Pak Heri.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Sehat selalu.
Yeah.
Stay safe and healthy.
Yes.
And happy. Stay happy.
Oh.
Jangan lupa bahagia ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everyone.